The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome to Court Radio. It's Dean Weitzman, and this is your hour to ask legal questions that you've been sitting on all week. All you got to do is give us a call at 215-227-2727. That gets you into Court Radio from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every Sunday morning. And during the week, that same number will get you into My Philly Lawyer. So, I'm joined in the studio with our favorite guest. You know him, the one and only Saul Langsam.
Good morning to all our listeners.
You know, when Saul's here, we're talking about wills and estates and other such things, property transfers. You know, he's probably too humble to say, but he actually was handling a matter for a radio listener who wrote this, like, effusive thank you letter. My goodness, it was like 3 paragraphs long, and talking about how great Saul was and how nice it was to work with you. And he's definitely the softer, kinder portion of the My Philly Lawyer team. You know, he is he's the nice guy. Usually not, but yeah. Everybody needs 2 sides of a coin. So today we're going to talk about estates. But before we do, there's a couple things in the news, Saul. Legal things. Alabama.
Oh, yes.
Alabama has declared, a judge in Alabama, a county judge, just a regular state trial court judge. Not that they're just, because they're important. She declared the Alabama death sentence unconstitutional in the way it's implemented, struck it down. And I guess it's going to go on appeal now up the chain. But the basis upon which her striking the law down was similar to the law in Florida that was struck down in January, in that the implementation in Alabama, judges decide if you get the death sentence, not juries. The jury's verdict is only advisory. And these Alabama judges, one after another, are just completely disregarding the life sentence that the jury advises and issuing a death sentence in place of it. So it goes from life to death. You know, and in essence, she really took on the entire bench and legislature in Alabama, essentially saying that they're insane. They're running crazy down there, and all they want to do is kill everyone.
Well, the legislature is now going to have to take a giant step backwards and take a close look at this history. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I kind of think a life sentence is enough for 99.99999% of the people and what they've ever done. If it's such a horrendous, heinous crime, you put them in jail, and life, without parole is to me a sufficient sentence. And in fact, in some ways, because they have to stay there and really think about their crime and maybe get better and rehabilitate to an extent and provide something of some worth, it's actually a better sentence. But, that's me and my liberal thinking. Hasn't gotten me very far. Well, it's a matter of opinion.
One other thing that I found interesting, civil rights activist Medgar Evers' brother, he's 93. I don't even know if the brother has a first name. He's just Medgar Evers' brother. He actually supports Trump. He said he's someone like me. He speaks from the hip. He's not a politician. That I will give Trump. He speaks from the hip, and he is hippie like you wouldn't believe. I don't understand how this guy's gotten such like a snowball going down a hill. What do you think about him?
We could spend the entire morning and the rest of the 23 hours talking about this three-ring circus.
He changes his mind like a flip of a coin. He says things that are crazy and bordering on racism and a little bit of throwing out the immigrants and torturing people. I mean, the things that come out of this guy's mouth are just crazy. Don't we want a statesman? I understand, folks, that we don't want politicians. We're tired of the same old, but I don't know that we're going to be better off substituting the same old for Donald Trump.
Well, the primaries are almost over, so that confusion will be resolved.
Yeah, not that some of the other guys running against him are all that much better, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But it is an interesting election cycle.
We don't forget we're the greatest democracy in the world, and we certainly are entitled to quality leadership.
Quality leadership, yeah. I don't know if we get that. I don't know if we get that, period. That's the end of that sentence. We're both parties, Democrats, Republicans, I'm not sure we get quality leadership. Because really, if you're like a sharp person, right, whether you're a woman or a man, black or white, you're a sharp person, educated, you tackle problems really well, and you solve them, and you come up with unique ways to make things better. Are you going to put yourself into the firing line of what we call political life in America, where these, reporters are up your butt 24/7 and all for what? For a couple $100,000? It's crazy.
Unlikely.
Yeah. Steer clear. If you've got common sense and you got something going on in your life, you probably could do better than going into politics. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Enough of that. Let's talk to Lena from Northeast Philly on line 1. Hi, Lena, and welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Turn your radio down a little bit. Okay. I can hear you. We had a little reverb. I heard you 3 times. Now I hear you. How are you, Lena?
Okay. I'm fine. Hopefully I can get this issue resolved.
Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I resolve them, but sometimes I just tell you you're going to have to suffer for a long time. But what is the issue? What is the issue, Lena?
I have a 2011 Kia Sorento. I took my Kia to a Kia dealership because my radio was broken. My radio has Bluetooth and navigation and things like that back in December. It's March. I still have a broken radio. I paid them to fix it. I went back and forth for them to fix it. They keep giving me excuses on why they can't fix it. And so I tried calling, the customer affairs. It went to regional consumer affairs, part of the corporation. The technicians and the people at the local dealership are saying, oh, it's her cell phone. But I have videos and pictures, proof that the radio that they gave me is not working properly. So I've been asking for a refund, and I'm going through the Better Business Bureau where they're sending messages back and forth between myself and the corporation. But my question is, can I take Kia to small claims court for the money for my refund?
I don't see any reason why you couldn't bring them. Here's one of the reasons why you might not, but I don't know that it applies to you. But when you sign a contract, there is the fine print of the contract, and sometimes the contract will determine where your dispute must be raised, whether it's in an arbitration or some other process. Absent giving up the right to sue somebody wherever you want to sue them, you have that right. And so unless some document you signed along the way, and you might not even know it, it might be in the sales contract for the car. It might be in the warranty for the car. Sometimes the warranty itself specifies. But here's the deal: you had work done independent of the warranty, because I'm assuming the car's not under warranty, and
Correct.
And so you went in. You're just a customer. You happen to own a Kia. You go in and you have the car fixed, and with that, you create a contract of sorts. In other words, you say, "Okay, I want you to fix this." They say, "We'll fix it. Here's how much." You pay them, and they don't fix it. So they've, in essence, forget the agreement of sale, in this case, and they have violated that contract that they would repair it satisfactorily. And so I think, unless there's language in that you signed on the sheet of paper, the sales receipt, so to speak, on the radio repair, and I don't think there would be, but if there were language in there that gave up the right to sue, then that would control in this instance. But generally speaking, the answer to your question is yes, you can sue them in small claims court. How much did you pay to get the radio fixed?
I paid $503.
There you go. Now, interestingly, do you sue them for $503, or do you take the car somewhere, some kind of like radio shop, some specialist, and you have it fixed, and you get it fixed right? Now, they might charge you whatever, I don't know, $200. Well, then, in that case, you could only sue them for $200, whatever the additional cost was to repair the radio. So, I think you want a radio that works, right? Bottom line?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see why it doesn't work, and maybe you need to get a second opinion. And that applies to everybody. Like when you have a plumber come to your house and your toilet's broken and you pay him, and when he leaves it's still broken, go get another plumber to fix the toilet properly, and then sue the first plumber for whatever additional monies you had to pay. Same in this instance. Go get your radio fixed. First and foremost, figure out why it's not working and get it fixed, and then you can always sue Kia for that money.
Okay.
And you sue the dealership, not Kia, okay? Because it's the dealership.
Sue the dealership.
Yeah, not Kia, because they didn't really do anything at this point. They didn't fix your car. Kia didn't fix your car. The dealership fixed your car. Now, you could sue them both. You could sue them. I guess the dealership is an agent of the manufacturer, maybe. But definitely you can't omit the dealership. That's the primary target here.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for calling Court Radio, Lena, and have a great Sunday.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. All right. So we got Queen Bee from North Philly on line 2. It's got a wills and estates question. Saul.
Good morning.
Good morning, Queen Bee. Was that the name that your mother gave you, Queen Bee, or is this a name?
No, my mother gave me Brenda, but I ain't want my name on the radio because I am who I am. It don't matter. I am who I am.
All right, so, Queen Bee, Brenda. Yes.
My question is, my mother's been sick for the last about 7 years, and she's at the point to almost being at the end of her life. And I have 2 sisters, and none of us have really legal power of attorney. My mom bought a crypt in the wall in a cemetery, but later my father passed in 2003, and we put him in his wall. Later in life, as I took my mom to the cemetery, she cried to me that she didn't want to go in the wall. She wanted to go in the ground. So as I said in the beginning, I've been taking care of her for the last 7 years, and I'm trying to honor her, what she told me. I'm just trying to honor her request.
I understand.
To not go in the wall.
All right, we're going to leave this up to Saul to answer.
So my question is, if I took my father out that wall and put him in the ground, could my sister sue me?
No.
Okay.
But I'm not sure, without having a power of attorney, well, not power of attorney, but being the administrator of his estate, I'm not sure that the cemetery of his estate, I'm not sure that the cemetery would follow the wishes of one family member. That's going to be up to the cemetery.
Oh, I've already talked to the cemetery. No problem, as long as I can pay the fees and get the undertaker to get the proper permits to remove him and put him in the ground.
Okay. Well, then.
But my only concern is later, could my 2 sisters sue me?
They can't, but they could try to stop you. I guess they could try to get an injunction if you said to them, sisters, I'm about to take.
I'm going to pay for everything.
I understand, but if you said, sisters, I'm about to take Dad out of the wall and put him in the ground, and they said, oh, no, you're not, they could run to court to try to get an injunction to stop you. Could they sue you later? Probably not.
Okay. I don't think they would get – well, we went together to the cemetery.
Oh,
and we tried to talk about the arrangement, what would it cost, what would this, what was that. And the bottom line is we're talking about maybe $1,100.
Yeah. Does Mom have – let me ask you something, Queen Bee. Does Mom have a will?
Yes.
Okay. And in her will, does she specify how she wants to be buried?
Yes.
Good.
You know what? I never even thought about that. She said she wants to go to the ground.
Right. So, you know, if you don't, you know, those are some of the things. Am I right, Saul?
Sure. It's easy enough to do.
I think sometimes other people can bring out, because you be so into it that you overlook everything. I'm just going to simply copy this will for my one sister who doesn't have it, and I'm going to highlight where she said that, and I'm going to ask them to please just think about it.
Yeah, well, if mom's wishes are in the will and she signed it and she's competent to sign a will, then whether they agree or not agree, that's what happens.
Okay, so she was competent when she signed it. When she had the will done, she was in her sound mind.
There you go.
As I said, my mom is really deteriorated through the years, and she's on her last leg. And for me, I want her to have everything that she ever told me.
There you go. Good daughter. Thank you, Queen Bee, and have a great Sunday.
You too, thanks.
Bye now. You know, what are some of the things that go into a will, Saul?
But the lady makes a very good point. The creator of that document can put their innermost thoughts into the will, provided it's not contrary to public opinion, and expressing how you want to be buried or where you want to be buried or with what type of clothing you want to be buried is all acceptable. I see that all the time.
Wow, very specific sometimes. All right, let's talk to Rob from West Oak Lane on line 1. Robbie, what's happening? And welcome to Court Radio. Oh, Rob. Rob probably went to get a coffee or something. All right. He had a gun question, so we'll just deal with that later. The answer probably is, Rob, you can't get a gun. That's probably the answer. If you've been convicted of a criminal activity in another state, can I get a gun permit in a different state? And guess what? Gun licenses to carry guns is federal, okay, covered by the federal law under the Constitution's Second Amendment. And therefore, if you've been convicted of a crime that is the equivalent of a felony, and many misdemeanors that are like domestic abuse misdemeanors, those kinds of misdemeanors and all felonies prevent you from getting a gun in any state in the country. In fact, interestingly, it was a gun case last week that Clarence Thomas of the United States Supreme Court spoke for the first time in a decade. He sat like a mute on the court for 10 years, said nothing. And last week he finally opened his mouth, and it was on a Second Amendment case involving just this very question. 215-227-2727. Let's talk to Carolyn from Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Hi, Carolyn, and welcome to Court Radio.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Are you happy I took your call?
Yes, I am. I listen to you every Sunday, and, today I just decided, okay, let me ask the question that's been rolling around in my head. Recently, my mother, who is 81 years old, she redid her will. She's a widower, and she lives in New York City and owns a co-op. In her will, she has willed her co-op to one of my family members, my sister, which is fine with everyone. But we think because it is shares that she owns, is there anything else we need to do in order for that to be legal? Can she actually will her co-op, and it's when she passes, there's no problem with the board?
Well, that's going to go by way of the language and the contracts that your mom owns that property. And sometimes the answer might be, yeah, no problem. And sometimes there might be a requirement that your sister go before the board to be approved to be the owner. And again, it's going to be the contracts, the documents that she owns that property under that you have to examine. And she has them. You probably should take them now to an attorney to review so you know what you're up against when mom passes.
Well, suppose she has no clue where they are.
Then she requests an additional set from the board or from the governing body of the co-op. I mean, she can get them. I mean, that's not that shouldn't be a big deal.
Okay, fine. That's what we need to know.
Yeah, so you grab those documents and you have them. You either review them if you're still questioning what they mean or how it works. Then you have them reviewed by an attorney. I believe that there would need to be an approval by the co-op board on whoever takes ownership of that property. Now, she still owns it in the sense that, like, let's say for some reason she was not fit to live there. I don't know, whatever their rules are. She could sell it to somebody who is, and she still has the value of that co-op, but she may not be able to live there. Although I kind of doubt that, but in other words, it's not like mom loses the right to transfer that property to someone, but whether they can live there, that becomes a question for the board itself.
Okay, so, I don't want to belong this, but my accountant said something similar to that he would recommend she sold it now, and this way there would not be a problem with that later on. But she's not interested in selling it. She's 81, and she doesn't really understand that selling it is not giving it away, that she has no ownership. But in essence, she would be. So she doesn't want to sell it. Let me just ask, what is it, a deed? It would say something in her deed? I'm looking for the deed to say something unusual, like when you buy a house, you own it when you pay the mortgage.
Right.
But when you buy a co-op, you don't ever own it? It is paid for. She doesn't have a mortgage. So what would I be looking in the language to say?
Well, there's restrictive covenants as to who can live there. And it's not just going to be it may be in her deed, but it may also be in other co-op documents. For instance, when you own a condo, there are, in addition to the deed itself, there are condo documents that are part of the deed. They're referenced in the deed. They become all part of that whole package. And so I'm sure in a co-op, in addition to the shares that are deeded, there is also reference to the co-op bylaws, regulations, rules, whatever language they use. And it's in that document, that other document besides the deed, where there may be restrictions on who can own the co-op. You might have to be a certain age. I don't know, but, who knows? Co-ops are big. Co-ops are big in New York, but I don't,
They're not very popular in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that gives me enough to get started and, try to get an answer. We don't want this to be a problem later on and, big argument and big court battle. So
yeah, I hear you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Carolyn, take care and be well.
Bye-bye. You too.
Thanks. 215-227-2727. Yeah, co-ops aren't really big here.
No.
Yeah, they went out with, communism. When communism was popular in Philadelphia, we had co-ops and we had, people wearing berets and stuff like that. But now we don't do that here anymore. Yeah. No more berets, no more communists, no more co-ops. It's all done. Thank you. Co-ops, I mean, that's like a thing where you go to get a chicken or something, you go to the isn't that what they call that? Like it's a what? It's a you buy a chicken at the co-op. I mean, some beans. All right, I'm done. Probably the only one who thinks it's funny, but let's talk to Rob from Sharon Hill about a burial fee question. Hey, Rob.
Bob from Sharon Hill.
Bob? Oh,
Bob from Sharon Hill.
Rob.
Bob. So you forgot about me, huh?
Bob from Sharon. No,
That's
how could
right,
I?
Bob
How
from
could?
Sharon Hill.
It's Monica who messed that up, Bob. I mean, you
Yes,
know,
it was.
you got to take it out on her. She's so quick on the phones with all the questions and answers. All right, Bobby, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, do you know there's a TV show that comes on during the week called Call Sal?
Yes, we do. I renamed him. His name used to be Neil, but I named him Saul because there's a TV show that's just called Saul, and so I thought it would be funny. So his name used to be Neil Langsam, but now it's Saul Langsam because we wanted to, jump on that whole fervor about Just Call Saul.
Yeah, okay. 'Cause
Okay.
I tried to call him and I couldn't get through.
Oh, I don't believe that. Oh, if there's one man in my office who always picks up the phone to a fault, it is Saul. But he was away. He's got a good, he's got some good color right now. He was away for the last 2 weeks skiing in Colorado because that's what elderly, wealthy men do. They go, they go to Colorado. So maybe it was in that period. But he's here now, Bobby. So ask your question.
Hey, is it all right if I change my question?
Go right ahead. We can fly with you. Come on.
Okay. This is a state that my parents was in when my mother and father died, right? And they had a will. And the will is a large, large family that has land down in Virginia with a lot of timber and stuff on it.
Okay.
And like they're going after us for taxes. I got a packet in the mail where there's a list of names. There got to be at least 200 names on that packet that this land boils down to.
Okay.
And this has been going on for the last 20 years. What's going to come out of that?
Probably a bill. If
there's a bill. This tax is due on the land like $30,000.
Okay, but $30,000. If 200 people really own that land, then it's $30,000. They could collect it from any one person, but it may be that everybody has to kick in a little bit. The funny thing about estates and wills and all that stuff is it's state dependent, and so you're talking about land that's in Virginia, which would rise up under Virginia law. And
that's dramatically different because Virginia's a commonwealth and their laws are extremely conservative, and you really need somebody at that jurisdiction that understands the process.
Right. So the answer is that when you're dealing with wills and estates, you want to find an attorney who practices in the county, even down to the county, maybe in the county in which that land is. They're very familiar with the judges, the laws, they understand what needs to be done, and that would be our best advice. Get somebody down in Virginia. Bobby from Sharon Hill. Yeah, I know you want. Go ahead. You got 30 seconds before we're going to break, so I'm going to give you your 30.
Because all the names that's on it, it's like being passed down to each person individually.
Right. Well,
like
I don't know.
Nephews, this person, that person, this person.
Well, what happens is
family.
I'm gonna explain that when we come back from break. But we definitely have to go to break. But when we come back, you listen, and I'm going to explain why when you don't have a will, things can get crazy, just crazy. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Bobby. Take care, buddy. Thanks for calling Court Radio. Thanks for always listening, folks. We'll be back in 2 minutes after these sponsors get their say.
You were just hurt. It's not your fault. You're in physical pain. How do you get better? Who is going to help you recover? West Philadelphia Associates has highly trained doctors and staff that can help you today. Don't wait at a hospital. West Philadelphia Associates will work with your attorney, providing documentation of all injuries and the best plan for treatment to get you back to the life you deserve. With diagnostic studies to better detect injuries, West Philadelphia Associates doctors and staff will help you recover. West Philadelphia Associates, here to help you get better because you deserve it. Call 215-4 471-4714.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. You've had an accident and can't work, but your legal case seems like it's taking forever, and the bills are piling up. At ThriveVest.com, we're here to help. If you have a pending lawsuit, call us at 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com has flexible solutions to get you money now. And if your case doesn't settle or you don't receive an award, you owe us nothing. Call 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com. Get the money you need to get on with your life.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back, Court Radio listeners. You know, from 7 to 8 a.m., you get your legal questions answered every Sunday morning. And I'm joined in the studio. You know him. Just Call Saul with Saul Langsam from My Philly Lawyer. Good morning.
And good morning to everybody.
And you know, if Saul's here, we're talking wills and estates. That's what we do. Wills and estates when Saul's here, because that's, it's always fun. And people have those questions. It's never ending. All right. But before we get on to, we have several wills and estate questions. We're going to come to them. But let's knock out a couple little auto things before we get there. Let's start with Musa from Northeast Philly on line 1. Welcome to Court Radio, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing well now that you've joined us. Thank you.
All right. I've tried for 7 weeks now. Finally got through here.
You have to earn the right to get on to Court Radio, and you've hung around long enough. We figured, all right, let's get this guy going.
Fair enough. But my question is, I was in an auto accident. There was a settlement. It was between, I work for a rental car company, and the driver of another rental car actually hit me, a drunk driver, and ran a red light. There's been a settlement, but there's been a disbursement. At this point, the lawyer says he's waiting on the employee, my employer, to respond, but it's been over 6 months, actually about 4 or 5 months since the settlement. What could be the hold up on that?
Okay. So, impossible for me to know for sure, but let me just say that when you're involved in an accident while you were working, correct?
Correct.
So, your medical expenses and possibly wage loss if you're unable to work are paid by workers' compensation. Workers' compensation has a subrogable lien at the end of your case if you have a third-party case. So there's 2 parts of your case. There's the one where they pay your medical bills and your wage loss. And then there's the other one for your pain and suffering, where you get paid for all the aggravation and problems you've had to endure. But from that pot of money for your pain and suffering, you have to pay back the workers' comp lien if one exists. And if he is trying to ascertain what that lien amount is, maybe that's a cause for the delay. However, 4 to 5 months sounds way, way too long to figure all that out. And so...
Okay, let me interrupt there for a minute. Okay, now I was never paid workman's comp because the situation was I was working 2 jobs, both of them were union jobs, Teamsters, And the problem when the accident happened, I was kind of like off while I was delivering the car, but I deviated from the exact route, and that's how I got into the accident. So I was never paid workman's comp.
Okay.
My actual own insurance kind of covered it from my first job.
Got it. All right. So you're saying that health insurance paid it? Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
For the most part, and then my own auto insurance participated up. So.
Okay. So your own auto insurance paid probably up to $5,000, which is what 99% of people have in Philly, in Pennsylvania, and your health insurance paid any excess. Again, I say, just like workers' comp, health insurance normally has a subrogable interest. So when there's a settlement on your third-party case, on the getting money from the at-fault driver, some of that money has to go to paying your health insurance. But again, I say 4 to 5 months to figure that out normally is way too long. So you've given me enough information to say that it's probably they're waiting for the health lien, but why they don't have that lien yet is anybody's guess, because it really should have happened already. If there's other facts I'm not aware of, but you need to go to the attorney. When you have this situation, you need to go to the attorney and say, look, 5 months, come on, what's going on? Give me the reason why. Or if you're really, that unsure of what's going on, then maybe you need to go to another attorney to have, to have that new attorney call the old attorney.
Okay, that's part of the reason why I'm inquiring now. But the information I'm getting from my attorney is that he's waiting on the employer's insurance to decide to stay or not. What he has told me is that he hasn't dispersed from the one agency, which is Hertz, who has settled, because the other agency, which is my employer, Avis Budget Rental Group, they haven't responded. But it's been over, again, like I say, 4 months now.
Well, that's the other thing is that if your case is worth more money, let's say Hertz only has a $15,000 policy.
Correct.
And they tender that policy. They offer it up because your case is worth a lot more than the 15. Then your attorney might be going back to the vehicle you were in for underinsured motorist, so that he's saying, "Hey, look, you have a case that might be worth $100,000. We collected 15, but we're going to go get the other 85 from the vehicle you're in because they've got a big underinsured motorist policy." Again, it befuddles me that my brothers and sisters of the bar can't sit down with their clients and explain it in a way that everybody understands. But you're not alone. It happens. But you need to get in there and understand it. Sit down with the man and understand what kind of claims he's making, what kind of money is he talking about, when will you get some piece of that first settlement, will there be a second settlement, et cetera, et cetera. All right?
Okay, well, you actually hit the nail on the head, because that's
I usually do.
Part of what he explained. But again, the timetable that he gave me and what it is manifesting to be right now aren't the same. So
well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give you one piece of law, okay? He has to wait. He has to ask permission from the host carrier and say, host carrier, the car you were in, we want to take this $15,000 policy. We want you to do an assets check to make sure that you don't want to go after those people, because we want to sign a release, and once we sign the release, you can't go after them. So under the law in Pennsylvania, the uninsured or underinsured motorist carrier only has 30 days to figure that all out. And if it's been 4 months, I say again, it's too long. 30 days under a case called Daily Sand versus State Farm. All right.
Right. Okay. And now, because what has happened, the attorneys for the rental car company, which is the employer, they have failed to respond after he sent a notarized letter, and it came back. Not notarized, certified mail. Yeah. And it came back not addressed.
Then
I don't think the address or whatever. But I recently had another court case.
Whoa. You can't jump into another question on court radio. No, you see, there was a reason, Musa. You were left on the sidelines. You're just trying to get every question, every legal question you could No, not happening. Not happening today. Musa, you got to get back in line. Thank you for calling Court Radio. I hope I answered your first question. You got to talk to your attorney, though. All right, let's talk to Moo from Northeast Philly on line 3. Hey, Moo, welcome to Court Radio. Hey, how are you?
Everything is good. Long story short, I was in a car accident. Gentleman, he rear-ended me. He claimed his brakes went out. I didn't realize till after he pulled off safely. How could your brakes have went out if you pulled off safely? Then come to find out, after I realized I was injured, I bruised my hip in the accident. He didn't have any insurance. My question is, can I somehow, some way, can I sue this guy for the time of work that I missed and for the having to come out of my own pocket for the rental? Because I didn't have rental coverage in my insurance.
Right. Did you have uninsured?
And I kind of want to go to therapy, but I don't know what my lawyer's doing with that. So.
Right. Well, you see, now you got a lawyer.
Right.
And the same question, why? If you have a lawyer, why is the lawyer not explaining things? I don't understand. But let me just ask you this: do you have on your policy uninsured motorist protection?
Yes.
Okay. So if you have uninsured motorist...
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I have underinsured. That might be what it is.
Doubtful. No, rare. I don't think if you have underinsured, then you have uninsured. Okay. I don't think you pick underinsured and not uninsured. So just presuming for a moment you have uninsured motorist. If you do, then if the guy who hits you doesn't have insurance, you just go back to your own insurance company and they treat you as if they're the insurance company for the at-fault driver. Then they chase him for the rest of his life and you don't have to worry about that. So if you have uninsured motorist, everything is handled right by your own carrier. If you don't have it, then you might want to sue the driver in small claims court for your time away from work and whatever other expenses you have.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Oh, yeah, communists, co-ops went out with communism, right?
Yeah. There you go, brother. Thank you.
Enjoyed that joke.
All right, guys. Take care. Woo! They love the communist thing. Well, it used to be, there was these older people in Germantown. And they would go to a co-op in Germantown where they would buy chickens. But they got a better deal because they were a co-op, so they got cheaper chickens and other vegetables and fresh produce and stuff. There you go, Weaver's Way. There you go. I thought it was communists who owned Weaver's Way.
No, Weaver's Way it's a food co-op.
Food co-op. That's different than a residential co-op. All right, let's talk to UC from Mount Airy, who's got a will question. Good morning, UC, and welcome to Court Radio.
Thank you for taking my call. Hello.
Hello. Did you ever shop at Weaver's Way?
I must say I haven't. That might have been before my time.
No, I think it's there, but they have very strict I don't think I could shop there either. They probably wouldn't let me. You have to go. You have to go before the board of Weaver's Way, huh?
Yes.
Oh, Larry, our resident communist Larry tells us yes, you can shop at Weaver's Way. Even I can. Even Dean Weitzman. All right, UC, what's your question?
Well, my grandmother has a property, and her husband is on the deed, my grandfather, but he has passed away. She's looking forward to signing the house over to my aunt, and I was wondering, would my aunt be responsible for inheritance tax once she signs the house to my aunt?
No, but the inheritance... Well, first of all, there is no inheritance tax, right? It's all between husband and wife.
That's correct. There is no inheritance tax.
So you need to get that house transferred from husband and wife to just wife by raising an estate?
Well, if the property is owned as husband and wife, then by operation of law, the surviving spouse becomes the owner of the property.
So we could just do a deed transferring the property from husband and wife to just your grandmother.
All you're doing is reciting the passing of the husband.
Okay. And then once the property is in her name, and then upon her death, it passes to whomever she wants it to go to. And yes, they would probably have to pay an inheritance tax to take the property.
Also, the grandfather had a second family. He might have passed it on, his portion, to one of his sons.
Well, again, it really depends on how the property was owned. If the property was owned husband and wife in the entireties or by the entireties, then no, it doesn't transfer to his family, even in a will, because it bypasses the will and it automatically goes to grandmom.
Right.
So really, you have to look at the deed that has grandpop and grandmom's name on it. And we could look at that and tell you right away whether it's hers or whether it falls into the estate and possibly is got some interest by his grandchildren from another spouse.
So before she can give it, it has to be just hers before she could pass it on to her daughter.
Yes. That's the answer is yes. It has to be hers in order to give it. And technically right now, just technically, but it's an important distinction, technically it's owned by an estate and by her. And so you need to clean that first thing up. Get the deed recorded with only her name on it.
Well, they don't think it's important. I'm trying to stress the importance of what needs to go on, but they worry that the taxes she'll have to pay more taxes if it goes into a younger person's name.
There is no, it wouldn't go into a younger person's. It would go into your grandmother's name. Okay.
But she's paying cheaper taxes at a senior rate, She's paying city tax, property tax at a senior rate. She worries that the property tax would go higher if it went up.
No, it won't. She's still she's still the owner, and she still gets whatever benefits she has now.
Yeah, usually on the city records, they look at the first name on the deed, and she would still be entitled to her homestead exemption. So I don't think that would be a problem.
Oh, right. That's what she's looking to keep in place. Oh, well, thank you so much, Dean. You've been so helpful.
No problem. Have a great Sunday, and thanks for calling Court Radio.
So long.
215-227-2727. We have, let's see here, Vicky from Chester on line 1. Hi, Vicky, and welcome to Court Radio.
Hello.
Hello there to you, dear. How are you?
Okay, I had a quick question.
Everybody starts by saying they had a quick question, and then we get tongue-tied and twisted up into a complicated question. That's how it starts. It starts always with quick. I'm quick.
I'll try to make it short.
Go ahead.
Okay. How hard is it to fight if there was a will made in someone's name and the first will was revoked, but you couldn't prove it because the first will wasn't notarized? I no longer have the will. I was executor, but it was never notarized. But there's 5 children. The youngest, I was taking care of my mom, and then my sister took her for a while. All of a sudden, my mom started acting funny. Then I found out that there was another will made. She had Alzheimer's. She was in her 80s. Was taken to a lawyer's office, and a new will was made. How difficult would that be to fight? And the estate never was open. Am I saying that the legal correct way?
Yes. Okay. Well, let me just ask you a question. What's the value of the estate? How much is, if you took everything that Mom had, how much money is it worth?
Maybe $250,000, maybe, or more. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe around $250,000.
All right, and under will number 2, the bad will, the one you want to get put aside, what is your interest in that?
I'm one of 5 children.
So you have a 20% interest.
Okay, the 3 of us want our share. The other 2 are in it together. My question is, how hard would it be? Because would the family position have to be subpoenaed, or does the state that she was had Alzheimer's when they did that will?
Okay, so I'm going to just tell you real quick from my own experience. Did a will contest, litigation, we go to court. Uncle takes all the money from the children, from his dead sister, and their mother, his sister, and they get nothing. They say, hey, mom was incompetent when uncle took her to have the will made. Similar to your situation. And we ended up in court for 5 days, a 5-day trial, where I brought in expert psychiatrists and other experts, lawyers, and...
No, but I was taking care of my mother when I was giving her the medication Aricept.
Okay.
For Alzheimer's.
But you still need the doctor who's going to testify as to her competent level, whether she was competent when that will was made, what that kind of medication does to somebody, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So,
yes.
The quick answer is that in that case, it was a 5-day trial, and it was, I don't know, like $25,000 that they ended up paying for the litigation to me to litigate that case. Is it, can it be done? Absolutely. Is it expensive? You betcha. You have $250,000 at stake. Maybe it's enough to warrant that. But it is not a simple process, and you must file in court to dispute the will. Once the will is set aside, they're not going to put in place this other will that was not notarized. More likely than not, that her property would then pass under the intestacy laws.
It's possible that the will that's prior in time, it may not have been notarized, therefore it's not self-proving, but may have been properly executed.
Right, but the lawyer knows that there was another will. I called the lawyer, and I found out that he didn't have a copy of it, even though it wasn't notarized. It was too long ago.
Do you have a copy though, right?
I can't find it.
Okay. Well,
but I talked to the lawyer. He said that it was too long ago, but he drew up a will for my brother, and he didn't even tell me that.
Okay,
so that lawyer knows that I was the executor of the first one, because the second one had to revoke the first one.
Right. But again, if you don't have the will and nobody finds the will, then there's nothing for the court to put in its stead, and it will pass under intestacy, which is...
Okay, even if they know there was one that existed.
Yes, because the language needs to be shown to the court.
Okay. And what about if she died in 2012 and the new will was made out in 2006?
So what? That's 6
and
years.
And the estate was never open.
Well, it's not too late. Never too late to open an estate. We've opened estates decades after somebody died. But we got to run. Listen, I love to continue this conversation, but we've got sponsors who insist upon their messages being heard. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
You were just hurt. It's not your fault. You're in physical pain. How do you get better? Who is going to help you recover? West Philadelphia Associates has highly trained doctors and staff that can help you today. Don't wait at a hospital. West Philadelphia Associates will work with your attorney, providing documentation of all injuries and the best plan for treatment to get you back to the life you deserve. With diagnostic studies to better detect injuries, West Philadelphia Associates doctors and staff will help you recover. West Philadelphia Associates, here to help you get better because you deserve it. Call 215-471-4714.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. You've had an accident and can't work, but your legal case seems like it's taking forever, and the bills are piling up. At ThriveVest.com, we're here to help. If you have a pending lawsuit, call us at 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com has flexible solutions to get you money now. And if your case doesn't settle or you don't receive an award, you owe us nothing. Call 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com. Get the money you need to get on with your life.
Good morning and welcome back. It's Dean Weitzman, and this is Court Radio, where you get your legal questions answered one at a time from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every Sunday. I'm joined in the studio with our favorite co-host, Saul Langsam.
And a wonderful morning to everybody.
Guess what? Breaking news. Just in, hot off the presses. Peyton Manning will be announcing his retirement tomorrow morning. Denver Broncos Peyton Manning is going bye-bye. So there you go. You heard it here first on Court Radio. We scooped the Peyton Manning retirement. All right. And also, one of those sponsors, West Philly Associates, man, they do a good job. They just completely redid their center. And now, if folks want to go there and they have kids, there's actually like a kids play zone where the kids can play while mommy or daddy is getting some therapy. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, there you go. If you happen to live near West Philly Associates and you've been in an accident, that might be a place to go. Let's talk to Katrina from East Oak Lane, line 4, Lar. Hi, Katrina. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. This is Trina.
Hi, Trina.
I'm calling 2010. My mother signed a note of agreement with my niece's boyfriend that he can use the garage until the house is sold. Since then, she died last year. They removed the house and everything in the house in her will. So I'm trying to find out. And since then, my niece's boyfriend been coming harassing me. He came and changed the lock in the garage. And he locked me out of the garage, and I put up a no trespass sign. He's taking the sign down. And I'm wondering, is his paperwork to supersede my will?
Does his paperwork supersede your will? No. Yes. But you still got to get the house transferred into your name so that you become the lawful owner. Okay, once you all right, then all you got to do is go to landlord-tenant court to get him thrown out and evicted. So that's what you need to do as the owner of the property. That's what you need to do. But unfortunately, we're out of time. It happens so quickly. The hour goes by. Saul Langsam, you got to come back again soon because
absolutely
we never get to kind of tackle all the people's questions. So, folks, if you're left online, please give Saul a call tomorrow morning at 215-227-2727, where the man will spend endless hours talking to people about their problems. More time than I would love him to give, but he doesn't listen to me. And he talks and he talks and he talks and he lets you talk. And oh, my Lord. All right, we'll see you next Sunday. Same time, same place. Have a great week.